Hello.
Hello.
Hi Vishal. My name is Saurabh. Nice to conduct this interview.
Hi, Saurabh. Good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon. So, talking about the interview process, it will be primarily focused on like Terraform, GitLab CI/CD, your understanding of scripting in Python, and then your exposure to shell or bash commands. So, before we can start, can you just give a brief intro about yourself?
Thanks, Saurabh. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Vishal and I'm born and raised in Kanpur. I have completed my graduation in 2021, so it's been around 4.5 years I'm working in DevOps and cloud. Coming to my core technical skills, it include AWS, Azure, GCP, Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, and then the CI/CD automation majorly with Jenkins and GitHub Actions. Then worked with Terraform for infrastructure provisioning and implemented the necessary security checks for deploying the application, not just deploying but making sure our application is deployed uh, securely. Like these are the things on which I work, and any of the ad hoc tasks which we have, any sort of the performance issue or any of the errors, scaling errors, so I manage them.
Okay. Okay. So let's say that you apply a Terraform module and it destroys resources unexpectedly. How do you debug this?
You apply Terraform module and it destroys. Okay, so I mean, does it mean I'm already having my infra and then I'm applying the Terraform?
Yes.
Okay, so it can be because of several reasons. Number one can be any one of the team member manually changed any of the things like tags for any of the cloud resources, or changed any of the size of the cloud resources. Let's suppose any member change the AMI for any of the EC2 instance. So if I go to Terraform directory, if I use the Terraform apply command, then it will be showing one resource to delete and then one to add. So this is how there will be the drift in the infrastructure. The state file will be having some different configuration, and my current infrastructure will be having the different state. So to mitigate this, I'll be making sure what exactly resource is affected. I'll be using the Terraform plan command that will be indicating me what exact resource is modified, and then we'll be checking what exactly things of that resource are modified. It can be any of the tags, AMI, or any of the configuration to any of the size of the machine or type of the machine. So these are the things I'll be checking on, and if not, the change which is the new change, I do not want to implement it. I can change it back to the previous thing using the console, and then again can use Terraform refresh command to check if the error was mitigated. And if not, I'll be again changing the current cloud resource to back to the original desired state, and then can use the Terraform import command as well to mitigate this. And the third approach I can use, I can remove that particular cloud resource from my Terraform state using the Terraform state list command, and we'll be removing that, and then we'll be configuring the cloud resource, and then can import it again to Terraform. So like these are the approach I'll be using on this scenario to debug this particular error.
Okay. And how do you import already existing AWS resource into Terraform into your existing module?
Which are not being managed by the Terraform.
Yes.
Okay, so I can use the Terraform import command CLI utility to use this. So I can exactly get the name of that particular cloud resource, and then I can use the Terraform import command with the name of that particular cloud resource. It can be any of the subnet, any of the EC2. So like this, I can import it to my Terraform state, and post that I have to write the TF file exactly as per the configuration for which my cloud resource is deployed. So that I'll be having the TF file for that particular cloud resource, and that is being managed by Terraform as well.
Okay. And how can you refactor any resource name without triggering deletion or recreation of the actual infrastructure?
How do you refactor resource name without, I mean, changing any of the configurations? Is it something like that?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, so I can use particularly like the variable I use, like let's suppose I'm doing this for any of the EC2 instance. So like we'll be having the AWS underscore instance or the resource which we have. I can change that particular name so that that resource block will be thinking, okay, this is the new resource. So the name will be changed in the Terraform code, but the actual cloud resource will be the same with the new configuration.
Okay. And what happens when two people run Terraform apply at the same time? How do we make sure that this is never done, like this is prevented?
Okay, so while implementing Terraform, our best practice to work with Terraform is to, like we are having whenever we do Terraform apply, we will be getting a state file which is generated locally. Sorry for that. So this creates this and sort of ambiguity, particularly because the state file will be stored locally, and no one of the other users or the engineers will be able to check it. So it's the best practice to store the remote file, to store the state file remotely in any of the S3 buckets or any of the blob storage which we have in Azure. Then we should be enabling the S3 sorry, we can enable the state locking mechanism. So in case if one engineer is working on Terraform, let's suppose he's working with Terraform modules and use the Terraform apply command. So at that time, if any other engineer does any of the work, it will be popping up with their state lock. It will be pointing out to the state locking, where one in the first engineer will be already working on Terraform. So that's the state lock mechanism happens to remove or mitigate this type of scenarios.
Okay. Can you share your entire screen?
Yeah. So from where I can share? Okay, it's here.
Check it is there
Yeah,
only
it was
video,
showing
audio.
in the full screen. Let me know once my screen is visible.
It is still loading.
Is it visible now?
Yes. Yes, yes. Give me a minute. Let me share a link with you. I sent a link in the chat window. Can you open that and click on request access?
Okay.
Also, you can open any editor, like either Python, like either online or in your system, is to write some code.
Python or Bash?
Will not be actually executing some code,
So can I use this code editor which I
but yeah,
am
we'll be
having here?
writing it format.
Will this code editor work here?
Let's not use this. You can use any online,
Your voice is breaking.
use any online editor.
For Python or Bash?
Python.
Okay, I'm having VS Code. I can use it here as well. The file is not accessible. No, yet.
Okay. Okay. Can you refresh the Google document page again?
Yep, it's working now.
Yeah, question is there.
Given a stream of job events, job start, events, timestamp required, CPU, memory, estimate implementation, implement an auto scalar simulator that prevents. So code should pack jobs on. Okay. Given us. My screen is visible, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
This is
Given a stream of start events, timestamp, CPU. Required CPU, required memory, runtime estimate, implement an autoscaler simulator that provisions EC2 like nodes with fixed capacity CPU and memory. Your code should batch jobs on node, minimizing the number of nodes. Spin up nodes with start T delay and tear down empty nodes after idle time T idle. Output utilization metrics per minute and total cost. Input jobs. New file node spec. Output minute by minute utilization. CSV. Algorithm. Okay, any of the prerequisite I have to follow for this?
make your assumptions. You're free to do that. That is fine.
Okay.
Also, I don't need a working code for this, Vishal. Okay, so this, but yeah, try to write the code as real as possible. That is the objective.
Okay. So, yep. Reverse. Let's suppose node count. CPU, and then we have the node memory. Node pies pass or pipe python node mem, and we have node start time 120 minutes. Okay. Node idle time out. Any I can use any of the like price per node or any
Yes, that's what I mentioned. Like you're free to make your assumptions. That is fine.
price per node. Let's suppose take it 0.1 in the use case. Okay, now I have to create a job for this. Your code should patch jobs managing the number of nodes. Spin up nodes with start delay. Spin up nodes with start delay. I can use a node class where I can define for I can define here for class node, then def Diff. Okay. Okay. Diff job return self dot cp node cpu use cpu. Self dot use cpu plus job. Then we have cpu. Any case lower upper doesn't matter. Missing it again. Should be greater than is equal to okay. Is equal to self dot cpu and self dot use dot mem plus job mem string equal to self dot mem. Okay. Class node model. I'll be setting up here. Have to define the workflow simulation. I'm having df reliability simulating use. Having is here the jobs time will be giving it, let's suppose 0. 0 nodes. I'll be using an empty list. Then having cost initially 0. Can I take the starting cost as like from the starting 0? Hello. is greater than equal to idle timeout. Okay, clean up the notes. This is done. Now leader block. Placing a job. Placed is equal to false. Initially it is not placed. Okay, so n in notes. For any nodes and can get job when dot used CPU job dot job start and job place is equal to true break. ठीक है. Now if not placed not placed and is equal to none, we can take the time m dot used CPU is equal to true. equal to okay. Duration is greater than less than equal to time. Unfinished. Okay. Dot job dot remove change. Okay. Not dot jobs. If not, then n dot last active is equal to time. Okay. Cost plus length nodes to price per minute. Can I test the script?
So
Can I test the script by running it?
I can you say it again?
Yeah, I said like, can I test the script by running it?
Okay, there's no need to do that. You can just walk me through. But
Okay,
anyway,
okay.
if you
So
want, you
like
can do
I
that.
was specifically looking for any of the syntactical error. So okay,
If it is done, you can walk me through this. No need to execute. I mentioned earlier. No?
okay. Okay, the node tracks. Yes, section. Can fit. I use a variable can fit. Okay. I use a simulate as well. Okay, so like I've given an initial node for any of the CPU for any of the node 8 and RAM for 32, like the ideal node we have. Then I have given the idle start time for 2 minutes, and like if the node is like not having any new request or new consumption for the resource set, it will be having an idle timeout for 5 minutes, which is like 300 seconds, so but defined here in minutes. And also like defined the price which we have for each of the node. So first we have the class node, which is particularly telling me what, or which is particularly I'm doing to check what exactly are these things doing. I mean, what are the active like the consumption for the RAM and the CPU. Hello.
I can hear you. Go ahead,
Oh,
Vishal.
okay, okay, okay. So, like this block was the for the node specifically for defining the node functioning. What are the functioning of the node irrespective to the resources which are RAM and CPU? What are active resources, RAM and CPU? And if we are having okay, so if like my node is like a idle, my used CPU and my used memory, and the idle timeout is like not let's suppose it is not consuming more RAM and CPU, and the idle timeout has been also passed, it will be cleaning up the nodes. I mean, will be scaling down the nodes particularly for that particular node if we are having. So for this block particularly for the nodes section, it will be checking up what is the used CPU and what is the last active thread, or for any of the message we have, if it is not having any of the connection, it will be going into the idle state. And if the idle state is more than 5 minutes or the 300 seconds, it will be clearing the nodes. Then like if we are run as per the statement, we have to run a job particularly, uh, like uh, like the job stream files for any of the streaming or any of the things. uh, so I can use, like, if my node is having the sufficient CPU, it the new job can fit particularly. If it is having the if my used CPU and my the remaining CPU is having, so it will be adding or placing that particular job to that node. And if my this node is not having sufficient I have break the statement. If it is not having, it will be creating a new node. So again, we'll be checking up the time for the what was the last idle time. It will be checking up with the nodes. Then we'll be placing up the job with a new node, so that the new job which I'm having, which was not placed on my earlier node, a new node will be created, and that job will be placed on this node. And then we are having the scaling, particularly how we are scaling. So we definitely are scaling, but how, what's the logic? If the duration of any of the node is not is within the idle timeout, and we are having the jobs which needs to run particularly, so like it will be checking up with the memory and the CPU for the new node. And then if it is having, so it will be placed accordingly. So like this is for single use only, but I have separated it. And then again, like printing the cost, like what is the additional cost which which we are having. But like sort of like this other scenario I can use for the particular which we have the AWS CDK. I can use the AWS CLI to scale out the nodes, but I have created this generic function so that we can use in any of the cloud. But it is not on the production standard, because it is more obvious to use the AWS CLI or the Azure CLI to scale or scale down the nodes in these scenarios.
Okay. This is a t-shirt section. Okay, cool. You should say this is a t-shirt. Yes. And what is your name? Can you copy this code and paste it in the Google document? Just Control A. You should not say Pallu.
Okay, just not saying that you are.
What is your name? What is your name? Just do a Control A, Vishal, and do. What is your name? Okay, cool. Can you scroll on the next page? Yes. Can you write a Python script for this?
Write a Python script that pass logs and alerts if latency crosses 200 ms. Do we have any of the endpoints, like latency for like any of the service, or like for what?
Sorry?
Like latency for specifically what scenario, like any of the endpoint,
Of
or for what?
passing these logs, like let's say this log is coming in,
Mm-hmm.
or like just try to write like primarily your objective should be try to write like the optimized code that you can think of. That is the
Okay.
expectation.
Okay.
Don't think of like a specific value as such.
Latency threshold log 5. Dot log LVD. Okay, so check latency. Let's see the path as of now. Alert 0 now with open log file web.log building in line. But this will be somewhat a loop while we using. Okay. With open dot log line enough if latency is equal to 9 latency split first index. Okay. So in this script, what I did, I have defined two variables, latency, latency threshold, and the log file. I can use the path-based as well, but I have only given the log file. So I'm I'm reading a file line by line, and I'm looking for the latency, particularly in that log file. I'm finding that exact number, which is for latency, in the log,
Okay.
file, and like if that match is particularly, it's more than it, the value of latency is more than 200, it will be printing the error.
Okay.
Okay, but like these can
Okay.
also be done
Cool.
using the
Can you go
regex.
back on the Google document?
Yeah.
Scroll below.
Okay. Write a Python script that reads JSON file, filters objects based on field values, and output a new JSON file. Write a Python script that reads a JSON file. Okay. Filters object based on field value and outputs a new JSON file. Write a Python script. Import JSON. Input file. Then we have the output file. Then .json output.json. Okay. Data JSON is used, right? Okay, filter JSON input JSON file output file data is equal to JSON minus load f data इसमें आ गया and filter the values filter 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 में list जाएगी object in object or obj in data if not get value with key comma 0.
Yes, Vishal.
Yeah, like just checking is greater than key values latency. So when I use a latency here, latency if it is 200 and obj dot get environment is equal to prod or not required.
Vishal, you can just write the code logic, okay, and
Yeah, yeah,
let's not
just okay.
give like unless we are already over time, okay. Let's not write unnecessary code that is not required. Okay?
Yeah, okay. Just the last line. Filter the line filtered. Okay. So filtered and filtered cards. It will be recording, and if we are having main is equal to main.
This is fine, Vishal. I asked that let's not write unnecessary code.
Okay, okay.
You didn't understand,
Just the
Vishal.
final one I was writing what to just write the function to run the function.
Totally. Let's not write the code that is not required. What is a basic understanding like
Okay.
this name equal to main these things.
Yeah, because the logic is was main basically for this only. Uh, like how
Yeah.
I
So
filter.
let's give more time to that.
Okay.
That was the anyway. Okay, Vishal. So can you just explain me how it will work?
Okay. So like I'm reading the file. So I have imported the module for JSON. I have defined two variables, input file and the output file, both with the JSON extension. I have defined one function where I'll be having the input and the output file. I'll be opening the input file. I'll be reading it and will be like F. I'll be using it, storing it, and I'll be filtering the values like of what are the objects like in the file which we are having. So I have used the two of the variables, objects and data. So if I'm like let's suppose I'm having object. So I have we can use any of the key values, database key values or latency which is having the values. So I have kept values or env wise as well. So let if it is having of the latency, it will be having the value. So this is how it will be getting storing the data for the key and the value, and specifically for like what are the environments are the JSON are having any of the env. So if the env is prod it's like this are the key and the values, it will be filtering it. And then again I'll be using the with open command or like keyword, will be using the output file now and will be writing it, and then will be copying the filtered data which I have filtered using this filter variable, and then printing it accordingly for the values I'm having. And like if running the function main, and it will be storing the values.
Okay. Okay, cool. So this is all from my side, Vishal. I'm done with my set of questions. Okay.
Okay, so like this was only for the
And
coding
we are
round.
done with the interview as well.
Okay.
Yep. Okay then. Thank you.
Welcome. Hello.